All of these Paldeck trailers that Pocket Pair keep dropping for Palworld have a bit more to them than initially meets the eye. The 50th installment in their Paldeck series in particular showed off a lot of different mechanics that I really wanted to talk about, and I figured since we are so close to the launch of Palworld, it is about time we start tearing these videos apart to see what extra information we can pull from them. Starting off here, we have your typical intro, which I'm going to skip over a bit, but I do want to point out the aerial combat happening here, which I am going to bring up later in the video. But after that quick intro, we are thrust directly into combat, where we see the Jetragon is labeled as a legendary celestial dragon. So what I'm guessing is that this is an alpha pal, which isn't going to spawn regularly, or maybe it will spawn regularly but only in this specific spot, or perhaps there is a chain of actions that you're gonna need to complete in order to even get these alpha pals to spawn. All of this I'm still unsure of. Let me know down in the comments if you guys have any predictions. A few moments later, we get a good look at the UI. Over on the right hand side, we have our weapon, our sphere count, as well as some controls for your pal. Then over on the left, we see which pal we have currently equipped, being Loveender, as well as 2 pals slotted in a hotbar on either side. Under that is your standard health and hunger bar, but next to that is the main thing that I wanted to talk about in this video, being the temperature gauge. In my last video breaking down the most important stats for your pals in Palworld, we talked about the cooling and kindling stats, but I was not quite sure what use those would have. Now that I'm looking at this temperature gauge here, what I'm thinking is that maybe some pals are going to be able to regulate your temperature in combat, or even possibly while exploring. I could be completely off base here, and maybe kindling is just how you cook food and cooling is just how you store the food or something. But you will see in this trailer a couple of things that might lend to my theory. First being right here, when they get hit by too many of Jetragon's attacks, they heat up, eventually gaining an elemental effect on them, being that they're on fire. This gauge does go back down on its own though, which is actually an argument against my case, but maybe there are lava areas in the game or something that are going to require pals with cooling, or frozen mountains even that will require pals with kindling. But the second and more important thing that I wanted to point out, which might lend to my theory, is that one of the pals summoned was an ice pal, and the moment that we summoned this pal, the heat gauge went down to below normal, meaning this pal did cool us down. The last thing that I wanted to point out is when they summon Relax Oris here, the water dino pal, you see it cast a water beam spell and miss terribly. Then what happens is you get on his back and cast the same spell, which you can now manually aim. First and foremost, this mechanic is awesome. This looks really fun. I'm excited for this game. But this is where I wanted to tie back to the beginning, talking about aerial combat. I'm wondering if these same mechanics are going to be available while you are riding aerial pals. Will you be able to fly Jetragon and engage in combat with other aerial pals? What happens if your pal dies midair? Are there specific pals that you can only find while you are flying? The questions about this game really are still endless, but hopefully they will all start to be answered soon when the game finally launches. I'm going to be covering this game from head to toe, so keep an eye on the channel not to miss any of that. Also, go stop by kick.com/Fringe-Patriot-Gaming and drop a follow, not to miss out on us going live with some Palworld. If you made it this far in this video, let me know down in the comments by saying made it so I can give you an extra shout out. But that is all of the information that I wanted to go over in this video. I hope you guys all have an amazing day. I'm out.